Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November 18th meeting of the Needham Commission on Disability. The agenda was distributed in advance, so in the spirit of moving things right along, we can just get started. Um, I think we have no guests this evening, but we've got many topics to talk about. The first order of business, I believe, is the minutes from the last meeting. Hopefully, everybody had a chance to take a look at those. Alexa, did you get any feedback on the minutes?
I did not see any corrections that came in via email. Daniel.
Daniel.
I had sent one email about it just in terms of the ILC program review that was done in the school district. Just the grade levels that was to include. It also included preschool, which wasn't mentioned on there.
Thank you. I
Great.
will. Okay, so I'll make that change.
Were there any other changes or comments about the minutes? All right, then I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
It's a motion.
All right. I think that was Lynn and Maureen. Is that a second?
Sure. Yes, second.
Okay. All right. Tatiana.
Yes.
I vote yes. Lynn?
Yes.
Alexa?
Approve. Yep.
Karen?
Yes, approve.
Maureen?
Approve.
Okay, I think that is all the voting members. So with that, we can move right along into the co-chair report. And I think we wanted to debrief on the big event that happened a few weeks ago, the community hearing session. Karen and Maureen and Pardis and Tatiana were all there in person, correct?
Yes.
Yep, and Michael and I were on the phone, so I think it was much more exciting in the room. So Karen, do you want to talk about being in the room, and then I can
Sure.
provide the Zoom update. Hopefully, Michael will be along.
Sure. There were a lot of people, a lot of organizations, and the Mass Commission represented. I would say the biggest takeaway that we all had that we mentioned today at the community budget meeting was there's a lot of resources and they're not connected, right? They're all kind of in disparate places on different sites. So I think for us, one of the interesting takeaways was how could we collapse some of the services people could access within the town of Needham in a one-stop shop so that people aren't running around, because a lot of the pain points you heard from a lot of the affinity groups were paperwork, overwhelm, frustration, challenge in finding and seeking information and figuring out solutions. So in the one use case that someone spoke of from the town of Needham, it's a young man who goes to school at Bay State College in Wellesley and hasn't been able to have any accessible transport with the ride that's predictable, so ends up missing classes. So we were sort of connecting the dots that the community council has the Uber vouchers, or what are other ways that we could help. So I think a next step out of that is working with Tatiana and our town manager to help figure out this list. And that could be a large deliverable that we do for next year of just having like a one-stop shop for community services.
Yeah, next to us was a table that it was dedicated. Remember that's dedicated. It's an
Yeah.
organization that's dedicated to just working with kids with disabilities in school, advocating for them, like IEP programs. And I just had no idea that it was an organization that, you know, dedicated resources to just that. I remember like having friends, whose children were in IEPs or needed extra resources at school, and they had to navigate that whole thing by themselves. So it's interesting just that there's so much that even us that are involved in this work are not aware of.
There was like a lot more talk about the problem that they solve or the challenge of the problem that they have versus like the solution is the takeaway I got from just like straight marketing. Like
Mhm.
lot of a lot of like the blockers, not a lot of the solutions. So it felt like if we could make the solution simple, you could get over a lot of the burden.
And
Uh,
was there like a one, two, three key sort of themes or challenges that came up?
That's a great question. The Massachusetts Commission on Disabilities spoke, and there was somebody from like talking about Lyme disease, someone talking about the transportation problem, people talking about parents of adults with autism, talking about the mental health crisis. So it felt
Housing.
like
Yep.
housing, there was a lot of like pain and challenge shared, but that'd be like 70% of the message. And then like we need your help today and we need better things, but not a lot of like next right accessible action. So I think from just like corporate best practices in advertising or marketing, like that's hard to get momentum when you come from so much struggle. So I think just that idea of, okay, the one thing we could do to access this bigger pool of resources is just to simplify. If you need food, if your SNAP payments are gone, here's where you go. One, two, three. And then the other thing we were saying, and if you want to help, like if you're a giver, here's where you could donate or where you could sign up to volunteer. So just trying to simplify a little of those things in disabilities, potentially seniors that could cross into both communities, and like housing, food, transportation, education, like those main buckets.
Maureen, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Karen. It certainly was a night where people were, there to really kind of voice concerns about gaps in service and things like that. And I think that's kind of the point of these sessions. I almost see them, they call them hearings, but it seems like it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like somewhat of a listening session that they pulled people who've contacted them in advance and kind of made sure that they were kind of all hitting on different areas of concern. So I thought that there was going to be time for people in the audience to stand up and say something. So I was surprised by that. And I guess that's just not the way it's set up. But I know this is the first of several that they're going to host throughout the state. They started in Needham, but they're going to be going all throughout the state to sort of meet with other people and hear and have make sure everybody else sort of hears these things too.
Oh.
But I think to that question, Alexa, that was a little confusing. It was like, hey, we have this commission that does a lot. Here's all these people with pain points. And then it was like over. And you're like, how, like, where's the wrapper?
Yeah.
I mean, there
So
were great many people
yeah.
there, resource providers, which was great, service providers. I mean, there were so many. I just wish there had been
More people
better
to take it.
attendance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because there were so many good organizations represented there.
Yeah. And I think this is in its infancy and it's all about, listening and hence the hearing name, which is all good because people need to be heard, before we can solve these issues. So I sort of had the same reaction. And, I think if there hadn't been so many speakers that had requested to speak, that they might have opened it up. But as it was, they went over by like 15 minutes. So you were all
Yeah.
there in the room, but there was all this to do about the link that people were thinking that it wasn't going to happen because it was late. And so we on the Zoom link, we attended the session where the hearing session, we could see live what was going on. And then there was a separate link for us to do our fair, if you will. And there were about 35 people that were on there, but I think almost everybody was a service provider. And again, like you've all said and already shared it, blew me away, all of these different organizations that provide all these services. So it seems like from some of the follow up, there's a move afoot to at least, get a list of all these service providers, and perhaps we can get that and put it on our website. But it was, an excellent event and good to be part of it. And yeah, I think we all learned about all the many resources. So hopefully we can capture that.
I think they
going
could
forward.
get more traction of participants coming if they called it like a possibilities fair or like a
Yes.
presentation of the services versus a hearing. That is a
It,
very different connotation, I think, from like
yeah, that is your very good marketing bent. I wish you had been in charge. So, but the hearing, it was confusing at first
confusing.
because I thought that's what it was. Then I realized that they're talking about listening to people speak about their issues. So
And I mean, they had like catering and like Tatiana and I were like, there's like dinner, like it just, we were like,
wow, yeah.
we're like, this is
So yeah,
crazy.
it'll be interesting to see how these go. This was the very first one, and they seem very open to feedback. So
Yeah.
it was really a
Yeah.
terrific evening. I'm glad that we were a part of it and represented, and hopefully we'll get some feedback, and there'll be some good actions that come out of it.
Do we want to send any formal feedback, like about the name or the, attracting more people or any of that?
I did that. I didn't hear a reply, but I did send basically what I'm saying in like the feedback form.
Yeah,
Um,
I filled that out too. The
Yeah,
survey.
and so did I. So all of
Yeah.
we had to register individually, and so we all got that follow-up link for feedback.
Right.
And we also did some feedback at the end of our Zoom session. We spent some time. We ran over. But we hung on. Michael and I were the very last presenters, so we hung
oh,
on.
you're so good.
And we would have anyway, but anyway, it was funny. So
Yeah. Can I ask one quick question?
yep.
Karen, I don't know if anything has happened with, I know Needham Local was interviewing Karen on camera during the event or at the end of the event. And I wondered if anything's come of that, Karen.
I haven't heard, but I wasn't smart enough to actually take their contact information, nor do I watch that news source. So
Okay.
maybe I need to look into that.
I'll look for it. Okay. Okay. I just thought of it now. I just remember you being out in the hallway for quite a while talking to them. Okay.
I think I might have said like we just really need to connect services and make it more frictionless.
Yeah.
Start with possibility, not always problem, because that shuts people down.
All right, great. Anything else? Any other questions people who weren't there might have, or anything anybody who was there would like to share? Okay, and Pardis and Felix, glad you have joined us. Welcome. So I think we are just missing Michael. Yep. So hopefully Michael will be along. The only other thing in
Hi,
our
thank you. Sorry,
Yes.
I had a problem with my audio and video.
No
So
worries. We
sorry.
can see you and hear you now. Glad you're
Oh,
here.
oh, good. Thank you.
Yep. The other topic we had was I just wanted to share that here's Michael. Oh, he's on but not showing. Tatiana, can you make him a panelist?
Yes, let me do that.
Okay. All right. So I think Michael can hear us. So Tatiana's going to make you a panelist and you'll be in soon. The other thing I wanted to mention is the Architectural Access Board sends notices to businesses in Needham that are not in compliance with the regulations. And so there are 3 first notices that were sent to businesses that weren't in compliance, that didn't have that. And it was all about handicap parking. So there was the Federal Credit Union on 50 Cabot Street, Haskell Insurance on 199 Chestnut Street, and Fidelity Bank at 129 Chestnut Street. So they all received first notices. And Felix, I see your hand up.
Thank you. So it's not that the AAB goes around looking for this. These are all prompted by complaints.
Right.
So
right.
there's a group going around the state that has, in the last 2 years, filed a couple thousand of these complaints to the AAB. And because of staffing, they just don't have enough staff to first verify it and then do the enforcement. So they're kind of wading through the list.
Yes, so, clearly somebody's been very busy making them aware of these issues. So
yes. Do you know what the violations were that they said for
Felix, I'll forward them to you since that is your focus on the committee. They were all three were about parking. One was no spaces, no signs, and then one was just no spaces. So I'll forward the 3 of them. We also discovered that they have Corinne Burke, who has been resigned from this committee for some time, as the focal point, and I guess Corinne was forwarding them to Jeannie. So I'm going to call the contact and Karen give them. Yep. Go ahead, Felix.
You want me to make you the contact, or I would say make Tatiana the contact.
Tatiana, what is your who do you think should be the contact?
So yeah, just so we avoid this in the future where there is no, it probably should be a town email so at least someone gets it.
Okay, perfect. So then I'll put you in.
So
yeah.
So you want me to reach out to William Joyce to just have him at it? He's the executive director of the Access.
Sure. And let me forward you the message they came from Victor Machado.
Okay.
I'll forward you the 3 notices that I got, Felix. And if you want to reach out and have it and give them Tatiana's email address, that's fine.
Okay.
That would be great. All right. Karen, was there any other topics you want to cover under the co-chair report before we move on to Tatiana's section? All right, Tatiana, it's all yours.
Great. Okay, so a couple of things. First I have the budget update. Just wanted to update everyone that the budget, as we discussed last month, was presented to the town manager and certain members of the finance committee who decided to attend the meeting. There were a lot of questions regarding the actual budget. Our budget has remained largely unchanged for the last 10 years, with the exception of last year when we increased it another $500 to be used for education and training purposes, which we became available to the commission this year, effective July 1st. I also noted that for next year's budget, the budget has increased, as I had mentioned, in accordance with the extra committee liaison policy that increased the liaison stipend from $1,500 to $3,000 a year. Karen attended the session and gave an overview of some of the activities that we've been involved with. I just noticed some of the stuff that we had worked on, and Karen talked some of this, about the new ideas that we have about maybe being or creating a repository for all of the resources that are available for the disabled community, both in children's, elderly, and teenagers. So that doesn't mean the budget is approved. It just means that it was presented to the town manager. The town manager's budget will be presented at town meeting next May of 2026. And then there's also a presentation to the finance committee, who may make adjustments to the budget, but historically never has, on December 3rd. So stay tuned for that as well. We'll provide an update on that probably in January. Any questions about the budget process for the town? No, all good? Okay. We received, let me just pull this up here so that we can all look at it together.
And I also sent this in the updated minute section via email.
Can someone tell me what I'm sharing? Sometimes this screen is not super
Yeah, it's the
helpful.
email from Daphne about East Militia Heights.
Daphne Collins is the zoning specialist for the town of Needham, and anytime there is a comprehensive permit in front of the zoning board of appeals, they send it out to interested parties. So the town's building department, fire department, and commissions, historical commission if it applies, commission disabilities for access, for us to review and provide any comments about the property, about the plan. So I'm just going to open this. Realized it was going to take this long, so let me try to open the second one while I am all about it. Wait, must be quite a comprehensive permit if it's taking this long.
A big file.
Big file. And so what the zoning board of appeals it does is they send around this information and ask interested parties to provide feedback and or questions about the plan, and just basically comment on any challenges or obstacles that they see about getting this passed. My lord, it's taking forever. Gonna make this bigger. Is that big enough?
Yep, and we can also make it big on our own Zoom for those of us that can see it. Yep.
Okay, so this is a permit for by the Charles River Heights LLC. It's for 86 affordable rental housing units in Needham, at the site adjacent to the Charles River headquarters, and it will be owned by the Charles River Center, et cetera, et cetera. They state that town officials that have been in communication about the project have expressed support of the project. They did apply to and receive a community preservation and funding committee of $2.8 million that was approved by annual town meeting. And they have an additional state appropriation of $5,000 for the project. So this is what it looks like, and I feel like we did see this one time before.
Yep, we did look at it
Mhm.
a couple months ago.
This is on the East Militia Heights Drive, 59 East Militia Heights Drive. And I believe it will have hold on, trying to find where is in it. Accessible units. Okay, so the application is 332 pages long, so we will not look at it. Okay, so it's 86. I believe during the presentation they did say that there was a number of units that will be accessible. I'm trying to find that specific information. But did you guys all have a chance to review the plans?
Well, I only sent it out yesterday,
Yeah.
late morning, so everybody only had a day and a half. Yep.
I didn't. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if you can review this right here. Like I said, we have spoken about this site before. We've talked to the developers before. I don't have the notes handy from that presentation, but I do know that there is a number of units that will be dedicated for accessibility here. And in general, sort of one of those like nice housing developments is going to have common areas for living. It's going to have some outside nice landscaping. See if this tells us the number of units.
And we did review this and we did have some questions. So I
Yeah.
don't know if anything has changed since we last looked at this.
I mean, it's 84 total units, and then half of those are for Charles River. So that's 42. And of those 42, four or five are actually reserved for staff. Then the rest, 37 or 38, are all for people with disabilities. So I'm guessing all of those are accessible.
Okay. I remember something about them being energy efficient systems.
Yeah.
They will have electric vehicle charging. There will be a shuttle to commercial areas. Anything else that you can offer about and this is just the same plans that we review that I put on the screen a second ago. So if there are any specific questions about the project, I am happy to take them via email and forward them on to the CBA.
I remember, Felix, you had some questions last time. It was about some of the dimensions, when we were looking at some of the diagrams of the individual apartments. So
Yep. So they actually presented to the design review board a couple of weeks ago where I also serve. And pretty much all of my questions from before had been answered they did a very long presentation there.
Okay.
And kind of already had incorporated everything that I had said in the Commission on Disability.
All right, excellent. All right, I just want to make sure that your questions got addressed. So.
And can you share if the design reviewer had any concerns or are they in full support of the project?
They were in support of the project. They had a bunch of feedback about landscaping and kind of some of the massing, but they were generally in support of the project.
Okay. Anyone ever have any questions? Oh, here it is, Maureen, thank you. Half of these apartments will be reserved through a closed referral system for individuals with autism or intellectual developmental disabilities, as well as Charles River Center staff. Charles River Center will deliver comprehensive on-site and coordinated support services for these residents, including all of these services. And the remaining apartments will be income eligible households.
This is Michael. We assume that the accessibility is mostly motor, physical disabilities, but were there any accommodations of making sure that there was low vision blind accommodations, either braille for doorways, accessibility to elevators if needed be, that type of thing for low vision and blind?
I feel like you asked the question.
I do remember that, and I thought there was going to be some braille, but I'm remembering from our conversation from before.
So I think they said that it's going to be code compliant, which this is part of the access code.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know if it's Braille. There are certain things that need to be Braille, like elevator signage and stuff like that. But they have
Did you ask
other.
about visual alarms too?
Yep.
Yes.
So a certain percentage of them have to be for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. So visual alarms, other ones for people with mobility, and they're kind of mutually exclusive in the code.
They did say that, because of the population that is intended to serve, there will be quiet areas. So areas that are, favorable for for certain neurodivergent conditions. So I do remember them. Like I said, the site is being specifically built for people with autism. So some of those disabilities will be addressed for sure.
Yeah, they're also going to have like meditation gardens, sort of, and other areas outside that are going to be more for public space for that kind of things.
So again, if anybody wants to, has further questions or comments, for that, I'm happy to take them via email and I'll share them with the zoning board of appeals.
Okay. It seems like they're being very thorough in all their presentations and collecting feedback. But if everybody has a copy of this that I sent out via email, so feel free to take a look at it and get touchy on any additional feedback.
Hey, so next up, I just wanted to talk about the Good Neighbor Award. Karen mentioned briefly that, Karen, had you posted it on the Facebook groups again?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just kind of wanted to talk through how can we promote this. We did get one submission, one nomination for a local business, and it came through the website, so we know that's working. So thank you, Amy Helson, for that. I kind of just wanted to talk through one, like ways to promote it outside of the Facebook group. We do have some money in the budget. We could put an ad somewhere, but I know that there's very limited printed newspaper in town. But if anyone has ideas about how to get the word out in the community, maybe through the chambers, I'm not sure if anyone has a connection to that. I can certainly try internally first, but I just kind of wanted to get some feedback from the committee on how to best promote this.
And I think I got good feedback from that person of some of the form fields that we might want to adjust to make it easier to submit in the future, as well as this idea that maybe it could be the Good Neighbor Award welcoming for all. And like, I don't know if it has to have that disability focused lens, because that was the reason this one person didn't submit this business right away. They do a lot for the community, but it's not only for people with disability. It's like people that have run out of funds or suffered a tragedy.
Yeah.
I feel like we can be more open, but I don't know if there's like a government reason we can't be.
It would be nice Excuse my voice. It would be nice too if we're trying to be specific to disabilities to add something into the title.
That's true. Make
I-
it clear to people what it's
Yeah,
about.
I think
That's a good
So,
point.
so just back to the question about the chamber. My experience with the Envision Committee is the chamber, a lot of the businesses that we're trying to access aren't members of the chamber. So that that becomes a bit of a challenge working through the chamber because they don't necessarily have as much of a reach for the businesses that are our targets as you would think.
Hmm.
And is that our audience? I mean, we really want residents to be nominating, not businesses to be nominating themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Residents
thought
based on their
that
positive experiences. Yeah.
the Facebook group was a good way to get the word out, but like I said, I don't know. Is there a newspaper circulating in Needham still, or is that just
The
We have the
Hometown
online?
Needham
Weekly.
Observer.
But they're
The Needham
online and
Observer.
they don't advertise.
Yeah.
So
Hometown Weekly. If we sent something to them, they'd print it.
You think they would without charging?
Oh yeah.
no, they would really? I
Yeah.
think they would charge.
It's not an ad. We can make it more of an article, like about
Yeah,
announcing
but
the award.
they still are like very much focused on charging for those things from what I've heard. I haven't experienced, but I've heard.
I've sent stuff to them in my current job and my former job, and they never charged. Um,
Oh, great
but
then.
yeah, we could try.
Worth a try, for sure.
So Maureen, will you send it to them? And then if they do want to charge, then we'll discuss it, I guess, in January.
Yeah, I'll send it. I can send it along. I know how to get those submissions in. I'll just make sure I have, yeah. Maybe I'll work with Karen on that and just make sure I have the right language that we want to include.
And do we need to take an action based on Karen's feedback from the person that submitted the award to make some changes to the form?
Could you share some of the feedback, Karen?
I think you're
You're
on
on
mute,
mute.
Karen.
my teenagers are screaming for me. They know I'm on a video, so they keep screaming, "Mom!" So sorry about that.
All right.
That's the real life happenings here. So she said that she wanted to highlight how easy it was to access this establishment for um, her family because somebody has mobility challenges. She wanted to um, be able to talk about the parking opportunities that are in a parking lot and blue spots right outside. She wanted to talk about the fact that they apply people with differences, and she wasn't able to check off as many fields as possible. She could only check one. So that
Okay.
must be programmed incorrectly that it should allow you to have multiple selections as to why. And then she wanted to give more long form answers as to why she felt like it was really accommodating.
Okay, so on the why, that is free form. Is that what they said, that they didn't have enough space to fill that,
No, she
or
said I wasn't able to add these to the form, but I thought we had a free space too, so maybe
yeah.
it just wasn't, I don't know, could be just user interpretation as well, but I thought we'd at least I said I would look at the form and
Yeah,
see
one
if
of
we
us
could
should
make
test
any.
it out. Yeah.
Maybe there's
Yeah,
a character limit. We could check that.
That's what
That'd
I'm
be
oh,
thinking.
good point. There might be a character limit.
Yeah.
And her experience was this particular business will donate their services in kind to
Yeah.
any resident having a challenge, which is really beautiful. It doesn't have to necessarily be like a physical one, but people going through trauma. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say the business, so I'm being
No,
purposely
I think you
obscure.
can. I mean, it's an application.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
yeah.
It was for Needham Florist, and it was saying that, and it was actually given by somebody that works with Be Kind Needham, and saying that in all of the business in town, the one that goes above and beyond to like donate florists or like arrangements or flowers when people are going through trauma when they post these things are them. And then not only does this person is able to access this establishment without barriers, given she travels with someone that has mobility challenges, but also they employ people with differences. And she felt like of all of the town businesses, they are overzealous in giving when she puts out a call. I thought that was beautiful, honestly. And I said, well, that seems like a perfect story for the holidays. Like it just feel good. So even if it's not so disability focused in every corner, I don't know, I liked it. And I'm like, if that's the only one we get, that's still a good one.
It is, and maybe Maureen will,
Beautiful.
when we send the communication about the form, maybe we could do this as a story, as well. So once we make a decision. So this just came in today, so this is literally hot off the press.
Okay.
hmm
So I think, Tatiana, part of what we wanted to talk about was, how to promote the award. But now that we have, that this award came in, we're not, sort of how should we respond? Should we, we had said we were going to have a rolling application process. And so we don't meet in December, but we could schedule a special meeting just to talk about this. I don't know if we could, do it via email, or we could wait to January and review, what we have in January. What are people's thoughts?
One thing we also didn't decide is how many of this we would award a year. So, so say, we take them in as a rolling basis and we decide to focus on, whether we want to recognize this business. If there's 3 more that come out throughout the year, because we do really good with the marketing efforts, we never decided how many of this a year we would award. So,
Yeah.
I think one towards the end of the year, like we did it last year, like in between Thanksgiving and the end of year holidays, and that can keep agnostic, just like the spirit of giving back, people that give from themselves to the community. So I feel like this is the time to give it. But if we did have more, we could
Yep. And
add, but it's not like people are beating down our doors to give submissions.
True, and Felix has his hand up.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's where like we were having the discussion last month, and I was saying, why are we going to put a limit on how many?
Right.
Why not instead have it like where the YMCA and certain other businesses have that you got this award this many years running, and not have the limit, but like have businesses use it as a marketing thing that they've qualified and earned this award in the year 2025, 26, 27, and not have a cap at all. I thought that's what we had discussed and leaned towards last time.
Yeah, the meeting minutes did say we didn't want to limit the number.
Is there a direct cost associated with recognizing a
No,
business?
no, there's no cost. I mean, it's just, it's the publicity that they get, the recognition, for doing this. There is a small cost, which is within our budget, for an award, a plaque, I think, that we give them. Right, Tatiana?
so we did a plaque last time for Serenity Nails. I think that's we probably do again this year, this time.
Yeah. And we've certainly got money in the budget for it. So. Okay. So,
hopefully instead of a plaque, do a certificate, and so that people can then say we have this many years running, and we don't have the cost of a plaque.
I didn't hear that whole thing. I think you cut out.
yeah, Felix, you faded in and
Sorry,
out.
I was saying, can we instead of a plaque do a certificate so that if we do get multiple, we don't have to pay for multiple plaques. We just print multiple certificates, and it saves us that money.
Wasn't it like $30 or what did you say it was? I think it was cheap.
It was like $29, so we could afford to do quite a bit, but we could also just buy like frames and frame a certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm more thinking is like just a nice certificate and a nice certificate holder, similar to what when someone gets a proclamation from the town or from the legislature, similar type thing.
Yeah. So they could hang it up. So from just a process standpoint, there seems to be some agreement about, moving forward. We've had the award live for some time, so we could certainly, recognize this one business if we, wanted to move forward. But, what would should we meet quickly in December to do it? How could we do it via email? What's the process in terms of reviewing it? And we haven't even sent out the application so everybody can take a look at it.
Could we just
So
vote by
it has to
email?
be in an open forum. So either we have to have a special meeting or we wait until January.
I'm liking what Karen was saying about the spirit of the holiday and, recognizing, people. So we, but I'm happy to go either way. So we could have a meeting with just one topic, which we've done in the past, um, and have it be, a brief one topic meeting, maybe 30 minutes in December, or wait until January. What would people like to do?
I'm on board with the one topic meeting,
I am
just so
too.
that it's
Yeah,
clean
me
and
too.
transparent and
Okay.
meets the holiday spirit.
Yeah,
Okay.
January just seems like too far off.
Far
Just-
away.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we plan to have, a 30-minute one topic meeting, and then can we send out the application, so everybody can have time to review it before our meeting in December?
So do you want to keep the same time frame of Tuesday? That will be December 16 at
16th?
5?
Yep. So we just have a one topic meeting, presumably it'd be 5:30 to 6.
Yeah.
And if you can send out the award so everybody could read it, then we could review it and have a vote.
So can I also offer something else? And I think this is what like Amy was trying to get to accomplish before we, posted this, is to have also some like internal criteria. So like if somebody tells you that, oh, I like that this business and they list all these reasons, like what is the verification process? And is there a verification process? Or do we just take people's words, at their value? Because I'm just wondering if that is the same experience other members of the community have had with the same business. And how do we tease that out?
Right. I was sort of wondering that same thing because, they reference an employee who was, um, was part of what they were recognizing. And we don't even know if that person really is an employee or has any disabilities. So, um,
I don't know. I feel like I'm like of the idea that like we gate so much. Like if we want to just recognize someone for doing well, there's always going to be a naysayer as long as like it doesn't prove to be crazy. Feels like what are
Well,
we going to do? Survey more people? I don't know. Like
that's why we do it in a public meeting, because we
sure.
advertise
yeah,
in the agenda that this is there. And if there is a naysayer, they can come
They can
here and
join.
speak.
yeah. Yeah, I think we need to keep this simple for it to work, and we're just
Yeah.
trying to hold people up, and we can review and revise our process as we go along, as we've talked about doing, like with the application. So, let's go ahead as we've planned, and and if anybody has any thoughts in terms of, how to touch base, with the business, I've certainly, been in there. I mean, and have, found those things to be true. But
I mean, I think if we're going to release it publicly and do a write-up about the business, we could share it with them to verify it in
right,
advance, right? And I think they would then flag like, "Ooh, that's not accurate. We don't do this."
yeah,
I think we give them the chance to sort of self-verify.
yeah. I think that's a good idea. And it might be a next step, if
I
we,
thought we were
don't do it.
already doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And also, I wanted to say that if we can think also about the December 11 also 1 week earlier, if it helps to do things before the like vacation time or things like this, because it's just a half an hour meeting. I'm all set with both with 16. Sorry, a week before that becomes December 9th.
The 9th. Yep.
Yeah, so that both are fine for me, but just it was a thought that because it's just one topic. And also I wanted to see if other people agree. Is it possible that because it's just half an hour, we start it no matter what day it is, we can start it at 6 instead of 5:30 because I'm at work until 5 and it is
Yep.
until I come home, I'm afraid that I lose 10 minutes of the half an hour meeting, so which
Yep.
is, like 30% of the time. If it's possible. If not, I can join in the taxi.
Does anybody have any issue if we make it 6 to 6:30
On what day?
on our same day?
Mhm.
I have no issues with 6:30 is a little challenging.
Oh,
I think 6 o'clock would be good, and plus also gives a little bit more time if there's another a business nominated by the 16th.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
Well, let's
fine.
just stick with the 16th, but we'll move it to 6 parties. Is that
Okay, thank you so
that
much.
better?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sorry, I just want to verify December 16 at 6 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just wanted to chime in. I'm uncertain at this time on the December 16th date of the ability for school administration to have presence at the meeting. We will be presenting to the school committee that evening on special education budget.
Well, that is terrific. And we would miss you, but I think that would be okay because it's just going to be a one topic meeting. So you can do your update tonight. And, if you had any updates that you wanted us to be aware of, you could send them in via email, perhaps.
Sounds good. And it's not to say that we definitely can't come,
Yeah.
but it's just possible there might be a conflict there.
Yeah. And it would just be a one topic meeting. So we really
Yeah,
wouldn't
if the
go
agenda
into,
is truly just to consider this, then I think we'll be fine.
yeah. Okay. So I think we have a plan forward on that one. Tatiana, was there anything else in your update?
No, I don't believe so. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to recap. So Maureen, you're gonna reach out to the Hometown Weekly. I'm going to create a flyer to put around the library and the cat. And just, public facing buildings, see if we get some traction that way. That's all I can think of as far as marketing, aside from the Facebook, groups that Karen has been tackling for us. But if anybody has any other ideas, please let me know. That's it for me.
Okay. So there were, next on the agenda, there were two current initiatives. Maureen, do you have anything on the accessibility in the Needham Center shops? I think I'm going to drop that from the agenda if you
Yeah, I
have any
don't.
updates.
I don't.
Okay. I think that was a good concept, but it really didn't
Okay.
bring much fruit. So I think we're moving on to other things that where we can have more of an impact.
Okay.
And one of those things, we had hoped was to have sponsor some kind of a speaker with the additional budget funds that we had requested. Somebody that could speak at the CATH or at the library or in town hall, some other public space. Does anybody have any thoughts or inputs on speakers with a focus on disability?
And I don't know if this is a speaker per se, but one of the things that resonated with me in the forum is that when parents leave the school system, and maybe I don't know if Dan, if you have anything to add to this, but they all of a sudden kind of don't have anywhere to go for resources because all of the resources are kind of given or provided by or tied to the schools, right? So the schools are kind of assisting people through that. And then when children with disabilities graduate, and they're kind of on their own, and the parents are left sort of on their own navigating that, that new realm of having an adult with disabilities, and what does that look like without, the assistance of the school department. I don't know if there's somebody or an organization that can speak to that maybe we can, organize some sort of talk or have a speaker speak to CPAC or like the parents of school age children who are about to graduate, who might benefit from understanding what is my next step after my child leaves the Needham Public Schools. Where do I
it would
go?
be really interesting to connect the
Yeah.
parents that have that need any employment training organization that exists and employers in town that would raise their hands to say, I realize that this population could be like perfection employees and I would be open to the willingness to hire. Because like doing that connective tissue within the within the city would be so much easier than having to get people like driven to who knows where for jobs.
So I know there is a group, I'm trying to remember the name of it, that that helps with all of that. That's kind of like a navigator, so to say, for those kinds of things, especially for people that are involved with DDFs. I'm just blanking on the name of that organization.
Do you know,
Um,
Maureen, like how we could connect that, or does that seem appealing? Understanding you're working with Charles River and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's people always need, as they say, it's like falling off a cliff and
Right.
everything stops. The state's obligation is done at that point, quite honestly. So, um, yeah, people could certainly benefit from that. I can look into, I know there are groups certainly, uh, yeah, there are definitely groups that have people on staff. Federation for Children with Special Needs comes to mind. I don't know what age they serve though, but they're really a good organization that's got that.
yeah, I mean, the
Network.
ARC is another one, but that's not what I was thinking.
What was that, Felix?
The ARC.
The
Oh,
ARC is another one, but
yeah.
it's not the one I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
I
There's
think that's
also
a
Till.
great topic.
Yeah. We can look into that. I can look into some
The
of those.
Carroll Center for the Blind does it for job entry for blind, low vision. But I'm also thinking if there's a recording of the Mass Commission disability town meeting we had the other day, I'm thinking that there was a group or two that did exactly this type of stuff for the state. I'm not sure where they're located, but we have to go back and listen to the recordings because there were a lot of people announcing what they do in that evening.
Right.
Mhm. And I also was in the meeting a few days ago, Bay State Council of the Blind, which is the chapter of American Council of the Blind. There I understood that couple of people that I already know, they are in different commission on disabilities. For example, one of them is the chairperson of Commission Disabilities of Watertown and some couple of other towns. So I now I don't have any um idea, but I thought that I can next week I want to have a meeting with one of them to kind of brainstorming, see what they have done so far, what kind of meetings or speeches they have done, and also the head of Massachusetts Office on Disability, Ellen Motelenko, was there too. So yeah, it's a kind of brainstorming. So I may have some ideas in January,
Okay.
not now, but yeah, just I'm thinking, to get some ideas from other Commission on Disabilities.
Maureen,
So,
there's
so
a big, oh, sorry.
no,
I
no,
was
no. You
I
go
had an
first.
idea with Charles River. There's a big push in a lot of different locations where they have like cafes or coffee shops staffed by persons with disabilities that run a huge profit because it's like feel good for everything. Did Charles River ever think about installing something like that within the fabric of that new community where community members could come and get like a coffee in like a coffee shop environment with parking and it could be staffed and trained and served by residents?
That's never come up as part of the plan, so I don't think it is. Um, they were going to have like a commercial grade like kitchen that could be available to people that are living there, but also for groups that wanted to say if we wanted to have a holiday party, we could maybe we could just reserve that space, that kind of thing. But I don't they've never mentioned trying to
Is
uh,
that something worth suggesting, given that that's like such like housing's one issue,
mhm.
but jobs is the other?
Right. They definitely have a person
So,
who's an employment specialist there. I don't think they would want to get into it in that new building, is my sense, just because then you're going to get all these licenses and the Board of
Yeah.
Health, and it becomes a big thing. But yeah, they definitely do work to find employment for their clients.
Is there a space in the senior center where something that's like a for-profit but staffed by residents situation could actually work? Like, I mean, again, large undertaking, but in terms of a notable community thing, that would be interesting if like there was employability within our town
Hmm.
through a mutually beneficial place, like a coffee shop within the senior center that's staffed by people with differing abilities
Yep.
and enables like a cross population of people to experience something lovely.
Yeah, same thing. I know they have a kitchen, and I
Now
know
I'm
they.
starting a social enterprise, but
Yes,
whatever,
yeah,
that's why I'm here. Just
yeah.
I mean, they definitely serve breakfast. Breakfast. I say breakfast with air quotes because it's really like very, like pastry maybe and juice and some fruit and that's it. But I don't know. Maybe they'd be open to that. It's certainly there are people there every morning, so there's definitely a need. I think it's just staffed by volunteers, or maybe there's a part-time person, but from what I gather, it looks like it's volunteers.
Yeah, I just saw something on Facebook today that it's volunteers and they're looking for more volunteers in the Cath kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if people want to volunteer, it sounds like there's an opportunity. Yeah.
but that would be a way to get like again, there's ways to like fill these needs for volunteers and give people work experience and then it enables them to get a job like in a again
Right.
like
Hmm.
solidifying resources, creating a circle, like that's interesting. We should maybe follow up on that because that's interesting. And I know some special needs adults that do that stuff in Wellesley, like, sort mail and do things like that.
Yeah.
That would make it interesting, like job. Okay, sorry, that's good.
That's a good thought.
So
And sounds like they could reach out to somebody at the CAF if they want to do volunteer opportunities, get volunteer experience.
Yeah,
Feel like-
so
which the ARC
towns
is always looking for as well.
Yeah.
So that be Charles River would be a good place to reach out to. I can mention that to them.
So
okay, so
a couple ideas that I had. First of all, the organization I was trying to think of was the Greater Boston Center for Independent Living. They do a lot of what we were talking about before about helping people with at various forms and stages of disabilities with becoming independent after they graduate from school and to adulthood and senior years. That so maybe having them come and do a presentation for our community to explain what they are, what resources they offer, stuff like that would be really beneficial. The other thing that some communities do, and I think Needham used to do, but they don't anymore, is offering senior citizens and people with disabilities the ability to volunteer in town hall with, say, filing and stuff like that in exchange for a reduction in their property taxes.
Oh, we still do that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we
maybe
still.
finding a variant of that for people with disabilities as well.
I don't know if we could eventually create like the Needham Employer Consortium. I just like name that, but it would be like getting a group of local businesses to say they would be willing to sign up to take one, two, three, depending on size of business, special needs people over the course of a year. But then we would have to figure out how that gets trained and helped. But I feel like it would be such a nice on-ramp. You're not going to solve this at the state level, but if you could solve it hyper locally to be like all these kids exiting the system, I guess our school district people would know how many that is a year.
Okay.
Like for people that could take jobs, what's that number? 12, 50? I have no idea. And then could we actually find places?
All right. So it
Sorry,
sounds like we've got a number of potential, topics if we wanted to, have, get a speaker. Pardis has a couple, Felix just mentioned, some, and Tatiana, your idea that you mentioned at the beginning, and Karen, what you've been talking about in terms of how to how to, connect, the young adults or that are sort of falling off the cliff. It sounds like there's a number of things we just would need to sort of flush this out and figure out how to put it on this fiscal year before June to spend our money in the budget, our $500. So,
That would be good. Just to follow up on what Felix said, there is also a Metro West Center for Independent Living that, the Commission on Disabilities has worked closely with in the past. So there
Yeah,
might be just
that's the one that Needham does. Some of our
okay.
neighboring towns do Greater Boston, so
Yeah.
I didn't know Needham was Metro West.
Metro West, yeah. So if we could, sort of think about these things, percolate a little bit, and then try to when we could try to move forward with, all of these, but really just pick one to implement, in June so we can spend the money in the budget and, get us started on, some kind of a community event. Those are all good ideas. Is there anything else for right now? Anybody wants to add?
I just want to make sure, I know it doesn't fully cover exactly everything you're talking about, but that everybody's aware of the postgraduate program through the public schools. So for a portion of our students, schooling doesn't end for them at the end of high school at that 18-year-old age. Special education services do continue until 22. And for those students in the postgraduate program, a lot of that work is around developing those life skills and community outings and work opportunities through local businesses and such. As the preschool director, I'm on the very beginning end of that, so I'm not as familiar with all the intricacies of that program. But Trish Mullen, the high school director, who also runs and oversees the postgraduate program, would definitely be able to answer any more questions anybody had on that.
Okay. And so we're
That's
talking about
great.
targeting people that are at that, 22 and aging out of those support
Yeah.
services.
I want to size the market. Like, I'm curious, like, of people that could have employment, like, what is it? Is it 12, 15, 40? Like, how many people would we need, like, post 22 employment for?
Yeah.
Should we send a note to Trisha? Is that the best, Trish? Or is that
Yeah, I
something
mean, I
you
think
think
she'd
could
have
ask?
the most,
Yeah.
I think she'd have, more relevant information
Yeah,
on it than I would be
that's
able to
fair.
provide.
Okay. All right. So that was a good discussion, several good ideas that I think we could move forward on. So if there isn't anything else, I'm going to move us along to our remaining updates. Anything else before we move on?
Just thinking one quick topic, think about the young people moving up into their independence going forward in their lives. We could kind of counteract that to the elderly person in their homes who are starting to lose and how you maintain their independence. So we can look at the extremes of ages of independence going forward as well as maintaining.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
beautiful.
Right, yeah, very much so. Very good idea.
Okay. So with that, I think we'll move on to the updates. Do you want to give the school department update, Daniel?
Yeah, just really two things on my mind. One being at the preschool, we recently made some repairs to the playground surface. This is really relevant for this group as there was like many potholes and divots within that surface that was really limiting some of our students with more mobility challenges access to all of our playground. So we were able to get that repaired. We're really excited about that piece there. Make it more equitable and accessible to everyone. And then as a district, we are in the process of just beginning to learn more about a new learning management system that might improve, long-term, thinking more like 3 years down the road, communication methods with all families, not just families with special education needs, but working through that platform on how that can help service all of our students is some work that the school department is working on right now.
Right.
Good.
Thank you. Felix, accessible parking?
So I've looked through, thank you for forwarding me those emails, Carol. I've looked through those emails. I'm gonna drive by each of those sites before our January meeting and try to check in with the access board. I'm not sure how valid some of those are. Some of them might already be fixed, like the Fidelity Bank. It looks like they were missing the face sign, and I have to see if it meets the van accessible requirements, and I'll let the AAB know. The other one, the um, the insurance company, I couldn't really tell what they were talking about. That might not necessarily be a valid complaint. I'm gonna look into those, and I'll touch base next meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you for taking that on, and thank you for updating our contact
As a
information.
reminder, the commission does sell accessible parking placards at cost for businesses and other groups in the community. So we always like to offer that when people have, parking signage issues.
Thank you for that reminder, Tatiana.
Yeah, they can come and see me here in the town hall.
Do we happen to have a van accessible add-on to those?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do we happen to have the little plate that says van accessible?
I
Or
do not. No, I don't. Sorry. We can always order them.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for following up on that. Lynn, the diversity initiative.
So, one update from the emails I get from them. They're co-sponsoring the Needham Interfaith Vigil for Trans Day of Remembrance this Thursday on Zoom at 5:30. Everyone's welcome to join, and the vigil service will take place live on Zoom. And just encouraging everybody to attend if they're interested. And they continue to have their monthly second Saturday vigil on the Needham Heights Common. That's it.
Yep, and I think they're also planning an MLK celebration coming up in January. And all right. And Marina, probably nothing on the emergency planning?
No, nothing. I don't know where things stand with that committee. It's Tatiana, I don't know if you know anything more.
It's still internal work being done only. I don't think they have brought it back out to the public yet.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any new business anybody wants to bring up?
I have a quick question. At one point, I think maybe when we were talking about the local businesses that we weren't sure were accessible, there was a mention, I think it might have been from you, Kara, about doctor's offices and your mom saying that she was, anyway, I was having a conversation with my mother today, who helps many of her friends try and get to and from their medical appointments. And a lot of them were complaining about a couple of doctor's offices that don't have, automatic doors, or they have real challenges getting through them. So I don't know if there are plans or how we go about even sort of like assessing those, or do I just invite them to submit a formal email, um, or sort of what the process is there?
All right, I see Felix has his hand raised.
Thank you. So actually, on that, even though it wasn't brought up here, it was brought up in that other board that I serve on, the design review board. One of the kind of more challenging / popular offender locations of that, the Chestnut Dental building. They appeared in front of the design review board about 2 months ago, and they're planning on doing a significant number of accessibility upgrades so that they can have proper ramping and proper slopes for their for people with mobility challenges to actually get to the building safely, like putting rails where there aren't any where they could fall, and improving the slopes on the walkways and ramps and everything. So that building is heavily investing in accessibility upgrades.
Good to hear. I think the one that they had in mind was on Hillside Ave, 464 Hillside. I don't know what the business is.
Yeah, is that where Needham Pediatrics moved? There's that whole medical building there. There's a couple different entrances.
No,
They're
464 is a couple doors down from that. Needham Pediatrics is on on Rosemary's,
Yep.
I think it is.
On
This is the
Hillside.
one that, yeah, this is the one I know there's dermatologists and some others that are up on Hillside that that do have some that does have some challenges. I think they have a garage there though, but there are some difficulties.
So who should those inquiries be directed to? Is it the design board? Is it, and if it's not.
So the design review board typically only deals with exterior facades, signage, and stuff like that, and hardscape upgrades. That those kinds of questions would actually probably best go to the building commissioner.
And if it was an ADA, issue, then, it would be something that either the AAB could look at or we could look at.
Okay.
Well, the best route to the AAB is often through the building commissioner, because the building made the violation.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Can I say, if this topic ends, I want to say something which is a little bit maybe off the topic. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Pardis.
I was thinking, because we were talking about accessibility these days, normally when people talk about accessibility, normally it goes to physical accessibility. But, as a blind person, totally blind person these days, I have a big problem with other types of accessibility, which is one of them. Day by day, every device is becoming touch, so it is kind of more difficult. There are ways to make them accessible, but for example, in CAT, when I go to sign in, it is touch, and I always have to ask someone to sign me in, which is not really good. So I wanted to say there are ways to make these devices accessible. For example, put some kind of bumpy dots on there where sign in is, or something like this. There are ways, and they're in most cases they are not expensive even. It's easy to make them accessible, hopefully. So I wanted to know, is there any way that as a Needham Commission on Disability we can work with CAS to make this accessible?
So I just wanted to understand, this is on the computer where you go to say, I'm here for this class?
Honestly, I'm not sure if I think it's not a computer. It's just a kind of a device to sign in when we go enter the building near the front desk.
Like a monitor?
Yes.
Okay.
But I will ask about it, but I think I'm not sure if it is a computer or a special device. I thought that it's a device, it's not a computer. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
I will ask about it. So if it is a computer, that's easier. So
that's easier. Yeah, we can just install software. So Pardis, let me just talk to the center of the CAP and see how that works. I think that should be an easy fix.
Yes, and always because I couldn't do anything, so I became kind of disappointed. Just asked someone, please help me.
Yeah.
Then I didn't check that, how it is. But now I was thinking that, when something easy like this, let's just fix easier things even.
Right, and sometimes it's just a matter of letting people know and that there is a fix. So, and increasing the awareness and the need.
Okay, thank you for.
Is this to sign into a program or class or the gym?
Everything, just because I think when we go first, we have to sign in that we enter the building for anything. Then specifically, you should sign in for gym or other things.
Okay.
So because I think they need their sign-ins for the town hall, or they know how many people enter their, for example, programs. It's I think for everything, you should just sign in when you go, even if you don't go to the gym.
I'll find out what it is and then how we can make it up.
Oh, thank you. I also will check if if it is a computer or not. So I don't know why I had not asked that. So I will check it too.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
Welcome.
Is there anything else? Other new business? If not, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
A second. Thank you. So we'll go around for the vote. Tatiana?
Yes.
Okay, I approve. Lynn?
Yes, I approve.
Maureen?
Approve.
Pardis?
Approve.
Michael?
Yes, approve.
Alexa?
Approve.
Felix?
Approve.
And Karen? If you're back. She stepped away for a moment. But that's so she can be an abstention while she's in the
Absentee vote.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So with that, it was great to see everybody. It was a really good discussion. So remember now we have the 30-minute meeting on December 16th at 6 o'clock. I'll send the agenda topic out, and Tatiana, you'll forward the application that we have so
Will
people
do.
can review it. And have a good evening. Great to see everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye.